The truth of the matter is, I despise perfection. If something is truly perfect, that's it. The bottom line becomes there's no room for imagination, no space for intelligence, or ability, or improvement. Perfection is a dead end and a condition of hopelessness. Always strive to be better than anything that came before you, but not perfect. So hey there and welcome to my channel. With FanFest and a bunch of trailers for Endwalker released, there have been a ton of reaction videos across all parts of the internet, everywhere from small names like myself to massive, incredibly massive names that have been around for over a decade. At the end of the day, hallelujah, people are talking about it. The worst thing is when people aren't talking. Positive or negative, there is an undeniable power in a voice and reach. And from a game standpoint, I've seen games like WildStar and Firefall die not with a shout, not with yelling, but with a whimper. You just stopped hearing about it. There wasn't a positive, there wasn't a negative, other than a super, super small, siloed off chamber. And even that went away. It painfully whimpered into death. So any voice, any reactions are good and healthy for a game. But with that being said, I have been asked what my thoughts are on some of the more negative reactions and have been sent things like YouTube video clips of reactions, and some have been very, very passionate that I do try and react to the reactions. And I'm going to be honest, I don't think I'm the right speaker for that. I think it's clear from my voice by now. I'm no real life aged wisdom-filled sage. I'm still young and just in my 20s, and I don't know much, and I'm still only really getting my own 2 feet on the ground, which honestly, given the last year of 2020, the rug has been honestly swept from underneath my feet, and I kind of feel like I might be the most intensely dumb person on the planet, or one of them. So I hardly think that I'm going to have any sagely wisdom here. I don't think you're going to leave this video enlightened. But in spite of that, I am going to try and do this video because I do think it's important to have a healthy discussion on different opinions and to really keep all of our minds open and to accept different people will have different opinions and preferences. Whether you like pineapples on pizza or not, I personally love them. Whether your favorite dessert is cake or ice cream or black licorice, I personally cannot stand black licorice. Or like some people find females in World of Warcraft attractive, and a lot of those same people hate Viera in Type 2B leggings and call them weeb.
Please, sir, I want some more.
What?
Please, sir.
Attractive female characters.
More?
Oh, we already have beautiful girls at home.
I knew it! I knew it! Whoa!
I'd use a different word like beautiful and voluptuous myself to describe female Viera, but to each their own. People are allowed to, at the end of the day, make bad choices and preferences, and we should ultimately accept that their desires don't align with ours. Ugh. Heck, what if you're into girls or dudes or both? Honestly, that's your decision to make, and you should have that ability to make that decision without consequence. Now, as a joke, I am going to say that some reactions could benefit from being informed that water pumps work in real life without any issues. They have been around a very long time, and the history of being able to pump water upwards, defying gravity, it's pretty decently documented at this point. That being said, there's a 100% chance that my actual interests would be even less realistic if they were ever implemented in-game if that water pump did it. Just saying. Okay, I had my bit of fun. Being very serious now, the negative reactions I think genuinely are a healthy part of a diverse, larger MMORPG and gaming community. In my opinion, diversity of opinion and thought is fundamental to all aspects of society, because if you lock yourself into an echo chamber with no external opinions coming in, you might really miss some very valuable and valid points. One example from my own life is I have published scientific research, and this isn't me saying I'm smart. I am stubborn though, but this isn't me saying I'm smart. But I published scientific research, and now a little while back, a particular set of experiments raised valid concerns about XYZ, but it wasn't until I got other data and other papers that conflicted in part with some of the current procedures that could be modified. But if we never took a look into further data and further research, or those studies were never done, then my research would have ultimately failed. It wouldn't have really been doable. It would have just been non-conclusive, it would have probably just flopped. But a huge part of research is not explicitly adding novel data in publications, but instead reading an absolute truckload of papers from a terrifying number of journals to get an in-depth, broad view. But cycling that back now to why that example is relevant to gaming is that we should embrace that different people want different things, and that things that we may really find off-putting, others might really like, and vice versa. It's not really healthy to just have one-sided arguments or an unquestionable set of taste standards that cannot be questioned. Game design and perfection do not exist. People will 100% be like, oh haha, I know where that quote's from, but it's from me growing up, and it was influential. It was a quote on perfection, and it resonated deeply with me. And I do honestly feel that it does apply here in full. To have every single person to like every single aspect of something is not possible. It's not realistic. To have obtained perfection, you have completely sated every need and desire and whim of every single person. And you are, by definition, if you're perfect, without flaw of any nature. And to strive for such an ideal is something anyone should want. You should strive for it, absolutely. Any scientist, any person, any game developer wants to be perfect and will strive for that, pushing boundaries, reinventing themselves, reinventing the content, completely redefining how something is. Like, take Eureka to Boja. Like, even within the content of just Shadowbringers Relic Weapon, we have seen so many iterations even within just that itself. And people are pushing boundaries and trying to change themselves and the environment around themselves to be perfect. All of us are. But perfection isn't achievable. So when I hear negative feedback about things, sometimes scathing, some people might think I'm somehow offended or upset. Like when I'm sent one of these videos, I think that people expect me to be like defensive and on guard. And that's just not how I feel. I mean, I get I'm weird, okay, whatever, but I'm actually made curious by it. I want to investigate more into it and find out the root causes of like, why do people feel that particular way that they do? Like, I worked in like psychology labs, like studying some people as well. Like, I have worked in a set of different labs, but it's like I want to also know from that side, why do they feel that way? What are their thoughts? What are their feelings? What are their preferences? And their thoughts, their feelings, and preferences are no less valid than mine or yours. I would certainly hope that they wouldn't feel that mine are less than theirs, so why would I want that in reverse for them? So while I might not share the same viewpoints, I am certainly open to hearing the other side, and I know that the Final Fantasy XIV developers are as well. Or have we honestly so quickly forgotten that this is the same development team that took 1.0 and over the course of the past few years turned it into the now significantly booming Shadowbringers expansion? Or that Endwalker reactions are scoured across the entire internet, basically everywhere you look. I am very often humbled because even I myself in this channel feels like a product of it. To grow to my current sub count in teeny bit over a year was taking many breaks between, sometimes even month-long breaks in the past due to, honestly, 2020 crippling anxiety and depression. And I've been put in a position I never thought possible, because I went from basically no one really listened to me for anything, and now it's like the views even over the past week are so humbling to me. I'm not gonna get emotional in this video, I promise, nope. But it's so humbling because I used to have a difficult time even making like one person like listen to me, and now it's like, now I have like almost 8K subscribers. I have gotten literally tens of thousands of views per day the past week, and it is so crazy. I've actually even gotten actual fan art being sent to me on various places. Like, I just got one on Twitter in my DMs, which honestly still blows me away. I need to share it with you guys, but I've just been so blown away with FanFest and like just so busy with real life and other things. But the point is, there's so much love and passion for that. So just to circle back to remind everyone why I even said that, is none of this would even be possible without the Final Fantasy XIV developers and their passion for the game. And I will bring up Anthem. Did anyone forget about Anthem? Do they still remember it yet? I don't know. But that game, Anthem the game, was beyond hyped up, and it was to be the future of gaming. It was the so-called Project Dylan, the Bob Dylan of video games, to change the future of gaming forever, under that absolutely intoxicatingly powerful name of Bob Dylan. And then BioWare recently, well, relatively recently, pulled the plug on it after a very long time after a very painful launch. So the Final Fantasy XIV developers are staggeringly different in that they are literally cut from a different cloth. It's just so inspiring to me to see how they interact with the community, and rest assured that I strongly do believe that Yoshi P and the entire rest of the team of Final Fantasy XIV are listening to the negative feedback and taking it into account. I think that they definitely share these values, because you do not go from 1.0 to Realm Reborn to Heaven's Ward and beyond without listening to the player base. And so my reaction to the negative reactions is honestly all this. Thank you for voicing your feelings and concerns. We may different opinions as players of very different games in some instances. Even World of Warcraft 14 is very different. But that makes yours no less valid, and I sincerely hope that we can come to a point in the future where we consistently strive to grow and learn and improve together as like content creators, as like players of the game. I mean, we may never achieve perfection, as that is an impossible ideal, but I hope that the game design and that all games are constantly improved and the boundaries are pushed and refined over time. And I mean that very sincerely. There really is deep down no bark or bite to my actual reaction. People are just like, oh, Cole's gonna read down the house, bop these bitches, oh, and I'm like, no, that's not how I feel. Feedback and opinions and diversity of thought is brilliant. It's integral to move forward, because if everything's perfect, you can't move forward. It's just like that quote. And this has honestly been one of the core tenets that has driven the world forward, the ability to have things not monopolized. In fact, like, a lot of people are just like, oh, one of the core values of USA, blah, blah, blah. It's just like, no monopolies. So why would a monopoly over ideas be okay? We should not seal others' thoughts and expression away. We should instead embrace it and all improve towards a better future where we might understand one another better, and we might really push the boundaries, and we might all end up with even better games. This is how we see things evolve and come forward. And I think that the negative opinions, even if we may not like them, we might disagree with them, and we might not like love how they are delivered, they're still no less valuable. And that is my sincere hope and feelings, that we can all come together and that we can all see things move forward. That's my hopes and feelings.